Hello, children. It's Grandma Carla, and we are going to read more of Freddy and the Perilous Adventure. We're on chapter 4. As the sun got higher, the breeze died down and the balloon hardly seemed to move. It rose higher as the sun got hotter, but it wasn't as high as it had been yesterday, and they could see quite clearly everything that went on below them. Once, when the shadow of the big gas bag drifted across an untidy barnyard, a flock of chickens ran cackling for cover, and a woman came to the house door and stared, shading her eyes with her hand. And a little stream ran out of the woods and across the foot of the garden and into the woods again, and in it were what looked like several large powder puffs. "Ducks!" exclaimed Alice. She leaned over the edge of the basket. "Mercy me, sister, if that doesn't look for all the world like Uncle Wesley." "Why, it does indeed," said Emma. "He has just that same aristocratic way of holding his head." "You don't really suppose?" The ducks stared at each other. Freddy, who had been hanging on to their tail feathers so that they wouldn't fall, tried to look too, but the balloon had drifted on. "It's not likely to be him," he said. "From this height, all ducks look alike." "Not Uncle Wesley," said Emma proudly. "We have always thought, Freddy," said Alice, "that if we had come to you when Uncle Wesley had first disappeared, you could have restored him to us. But of course, then you hadn't taken up detecting." "I could probably have found him," said the pig modestly, "but today, even if he hasn't been, if he is still, there's no need to try to spare our feelings," said Alice. "We are not afraid to face the dreadful possibilities of what might have happened. If he has not, you mean, been eaten by a fox, or—" "Oh, sister," quacked Emma faintly. "Or a cat," continued Alice firmly. "But if some such thing had not happened, he would have returned to us, or at least sent some word." "Perhaps he got married," said Freddy. "Oh, I'm sure he would at least have sent us an announcement," said Emma. "We feel," said Alice, "that he must have set out on some dangerous adventure. Perhaps he did not tell us because he did not want us to worry. He was so utterly without fear. He would not have hesitated to fight anything that walks or flies if he felt that he was in the right. Do you remember, Emma, the time he ordered that bull out of the cornfield?" The ducks went on with their reminiscing of their intrepid uncle, and Freddy stopped listening and leaned over the edge of the basket and watched the scenery and thought about scrambled eggs and hot buttered toast and muffins with jam and other things that the people in the houses below them were probably having for breakfast at that very moment. I don't know that you can blame him. 1/3 of a piece of molasses candy is not a very filling breakfast. Suddenly, a large bird came soaring over the top of a distant hill, then swerved, and with powerful wing beats came flying toward them. He was dark, with a white head and tail. "Good gracious," said Freddy to himself, "an eagle! I do hope it isn't Pickney. That would be just too much of a coincidence when we've been talking about Uncle Wesley." For Pickney was the eagle who had carried the duck's uncle off. Like all birds, the eagle was curious, and he wanted to investigate the balloon. Pretty soon the ducks caught sight of him, and with frightened quacks they cowered in the bottom of the basket. The eagle was so close now that they could hear the swish of air made by each downstroke of the great wings. And then he caught sight of Freddy, and with a harsh scream of surprise, turned a complete double somersault in his amazement at seeing that the balloonist was a pig. He recovered himself 50 feet down and beat up to their level again. "Welcome, O pig, to the starry upper spaces of the blue Empyrean," he said as he soared alongside. "What strange chance brings you thus to adventure in your frail chariot among the trackless haunts of the feathered folk?" Freddy had talked to eagles before, so he was not surprised at this high-flown language. Eagles, since they are the national bird, have a great sense of their own dignity and feel that just ordinary talk is beneath them. Freddy, however, was pretty good at noble-sounding language himself. "Hail, O monarch of the skies," he said, and then explained about the ascension and their present difficulties. "And so," he concluded, "we know not where we are, nor whither we are bound, nor are we provided with the wherewithal to sustain life on this problematical and involuntary journey. Therefore, we beseech your aid. If your present course should lead you within wing beat of the domicile of that respected farmer, Mr. Bean—" "Mr. Bean!" interrupted the eagle, and he swung in towards them, and perching on the edge of the basket, stared at Freddy with his fierce yellow eyes. "Great is the renown and widespread the repute of that excellent man, Bean, and his talented livestock among all furred and feathered dwellers within the confines of the Empire State. And you, ha! Those well-weighed words I should have recognized. Are you not that pig whose noble song in praise of the eagle is taught to every young eaglet throughout the length and the breadth of these mountains before he is allowed to leave the nest?" Freddy blushed. "I did indeed, 5 years ago, pen some few poor lines in unworthy tribute to our national bird, but I had thought them long forgotten." "Forgotten!" exclaimed the eagle. "Ha! You should hear my young Waldemar recite those glowing stanzas. How does it go? 'O eagle, mightiest of all living things, nor death nor destiny has longer stings.'" "Spreads stronger wings," corrected Freddy, "of course. And then, 'Thy claws of steel, thy beak of burnished brass, make malefactor pigs chew up the grass.'" "That's not exactly as I wrote it," said Freddy, "though very nice. But I wrote, 'The claws of brass, thy beak of burnished steel, make malefactor pigs in terror squeal.'" "Oh yes," said the pig, "but in either version, most complimentary, and while written, as I am given to understand, specifically for my brother Pickney, a most excellent, elegant compliment to the entire eagle race." "Pickney is your brother?" inquired Freddy. "I trust you will present him my compliments, and ask him, when he has leisure, if he will do me the honor of paying me a short call. There are matters on which I wish to consult him." "Ah, I do remember," said the eagle, "that there are certain business transactions between Pickney and various of your associates, concerning a goose, was it? Or "If you please," interrupted Freddy quickly, and with a gesture indicated the 2 ducks, who were pretending to be powder puffs with their heads underneath their wings. The eagle cocked his head and stared at them with his left eye. "Eh?" he said in a harsh whisper. "I see. The nieces? Yaha, yes, you can trust me." He lowered his voice. "There is a farm in South Pharisee owned by Mr. Pratt. I fancy that inquiries there may be fruitful. And now, my friend," he said aloud, "in what can I serve you? Your high poetic talent and your remarkably true and exact portrayal of eagle character command my service. Instruct me, I pray." So Freddy told him what he wanted. It took a lot of language, which would occupy too many pages here, so I will not repeat it. But when the eagle finally took his leave, he had promised to tell the animals at the farm of their plight, and to arrange somehow for them to get something to eat. After that, Freddy felt better. So here are pictures. Here's the picture of the eagle, who is Pickney's brother, and here is the picture of the eagle talking to Freddy and the ducks in the basket of the balloon. And that is the end of chapter 4. And next time we will read chapter 5. This is Grandma Carla, and I love you.